a tiny bit more on the idea of free will rather than determinism, just free will, and particularly will, because that's such an interesting word, isn't it? Because when we talk about will, we often say the will, for example. You know, we turn it into a direct object, and we treat it as if it's an object or a substance or something like that. You know, if you've got a strong will, it's something that's hard to bend and it's solid, or you might be weak-willed, in which case it doesn't hold much weight. It's a support-like object. So we conceive of will as if it's a kind of object or possibly a substance. But I'm just thinking in terms of, well, I guess in the spirit of Borges. In the spirit of Borges, Jorge Luis Borges, who wrote Clon Ukbar Orbis Tertius and a number of other things. And in that story, which is a great story, there's a fake language in this world that it occupies. Well, there's several fake languages, but the key thing about the languages of this world is there are no words for objects. There aren't any words that you could put the in front of. There aren't any nouns, in other words. All the things that are like, if you want to describe something, you would have to describe it using verbs or adjectives. So where I am, for example, I couldn't say there is a tree. Couldn't say there is a tree because a tree is an object and the word tree is a noun. So I would have to say it's treeing. It's treeing. Turn it into a verb. It's treeing. Which sounds weird to our ears until you remember that we do say it's raining. It's raining, as if to some it that's doing it. It's just this kind of empty pronoun, the word it at the beginning of that. It's treeing, and there's lots of it's treeing around me right now. But in terms of this word will, you know, rather than treating it as an object and talk about the will, noun, you return it to its verb roots, because of course will is originally a verb, at least the English version of that is a verb. It's the future tense of the verb to be. I will, you will, she will, he will, it will, they will. Future tense of the verb to be, indicating a future state that they are in the process of moving towards being a spatial metaphor to describe a change of state, from the change of state you're in this moment to to the state you will be in the next moment, which is a process of willing, the process of, which is the verb again, the willing, not by some act of intentional force, not by the mobilization of some magical substance or the switching on of the will machine, but just by the movement of time, from one moment to the next, one state to the next. Willing. I will be over there, and here I am, willing, over there. Yes, I am now over here, and it was Will that brought me here. Thanks, Will. So I'm just revisiting or recovering that bit of understanding of what will means. I suppose the other thing about will, which I'm trying to feed into my understanding of it, is I should read Hegel, I should read Nietzsche, I should read fucking Schopenhauer, but you know I'm not going to. I stay with etymology. The other thing about willing, which I should think about, is that word willing. You know, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I am willing to buy for 1 shilling this ring. You know, willing, which is a kind of acceptance, isn't it? If you say you will, it means you accept, and that use of the verb to will. You will. I accept. I allow. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? There's something not exactly passive about it, but something open to it. I quite like that. So I quite like these two senses of will, which strip it of all those substance and object metaphors. Stop it being the will, you know, which is neatly packaged. Turns it into a verb. Combining those two together, you know, the verb, the future tense of the verb to be, that will, which indicates us moving into the future, and our willingness to accept the future, and our willingness to understand the future as accepting us. Now, you know, does that make any sense at all? Treeing, grounding, dogging. It's dogging, look. It's dogging. I think that means looking at people having sex in cars. But in this case, it literally means dog. Look, it's dogging. Phoebe is dogging. I am being. I'm not a being, I am being. And now I am willing to go back to the car and go home. Try stopping at Sainsbury's on the way home and buy some coffee. I am willing to do that. Otherwise, I will not have any coffee for the morning.